Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the H Cup presented by BTS. We're going to be taking a look at game number 2 today between TongFu and Newbee. Should be absolutely fantabulous. Lyrical Dota joined today by Danelie casts, and we saw a pretty freaking crazy game last time around. I'm still slightly in shock as to what we witnessed. Danny, Naga Siren did things. Give me your impressions of the breakdown of that match, if you would.
So, according to chat, it was an April Fool's joke.
Okay.
According to us, I honestly think it was just mostly high ground. Like, high ground was the biggest problem for TongFu. It doesn't matter if you have all the control in the world that game. If you can't break high ground, you can't finish the game. Like, obviously, for Dota 2, the only way to win the game is to break into the base and take the Ancient. But Newbee, they were so good at defending the Ancient. They had a Naga Siren with the song for setup. Unfortunately for me, he played a wonderful line. I think we witnessed 2 to 3 missed stuns because there was some miscommunication between him and KPI. But he played very well on the line too. Like, even though there were moments where it looked like Newbee were just going to completely fall apart as a team, he managed to get the initiations. Even Sansheng on the Doom as well, getting those clutch Doom targets. Whereas for TongFu, like, they tried their best. They're trying to go high ground, but even with Lasso, even with a Sven, it just didn't seem like it was enough control for TongFu to push up high ground, and I can't help but feel like one of the factors was that they were a bit hasty trying to push up high ground without an Aegis, right? There were moments where they push up high ground and there was no Aegis, so he didn't have that secondary life on U9, which he needed so desperately, because we witnessed the first time when Newbee had no spells or they missed out on the Doom. That was a huge opening for TongFu, and they capitalized on it. They had to keep doing that to make high ground easier, but it felt like they just got too hasty.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think also it's kind of interesting to me. I really hope that it's not something we're going to see more often, but I'm wondering if Newbee are onto something here. Like, if you can pick a hero like a Naga Siren that's just able to carry the game completely and totally on her own, and you build team fight heroes around it, like, then if there's one overextension, all of a sudden you get this like big swing of gold back your way. You're able to hold on that much longer. Like, all of these things come together, and it's just a really big problem for you to try and take the game back after it's been sort of handed over a little bit. And it almost reminds me back to a bit of how 6.82 was, where there was those huge gold swings and the crazy long games that we ended up seeing. It's something that I'm wondering if this is sort of the next evolution of this patch that we've been in for a really freaking long time now. But back to this game in particular, enough of my musings. Oh God, no! Jesus. Alright, well, we got Invoke Revengeful Spirit, Bat Rider, Naga Siren. They didn't ban it. I was hoping that they wouldn't, but oh God.
Well, I will safely say that they're probably not going to put KPI in the offlane again.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't have faith in my words anymore. Newbee did it last game. They could do it again, I suppose.
I mean, the thing about it, though, is, like, if they do, it worked, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it worked.
It kind of worked because their team was able to sort of protect the base. Like, Naga didn't do anything. She only threw a couple of songs, and that was essentially it for the first initial high ground defenses. But then as it kept on going on and she accumulated the gold, then the Naga Siren became relevant. So after 30 minutes, then Naga Siren becomes relevant. Before that, they're going to have to keep it protected.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're going to be able to sort of do that. I feel like they also, maybe picking the Naga this early means that TongFu are able to deal with it, like pick heroes that deal with it well. They could take the line for themselves potentially. That's another option if they wanted to go that route. They already have Vengeful Spirit, so another extra little bit of stun and lockdown would be pretty helpful, I would imagine. Who else really deals well with Naga Siren? OD kind of does a little bit because you can kill illusions rapidly, but I'm not sure if it's quite enough.
No, I don't think so. Normally, like, the best way to deal with Naga Siren is heroes to cleave. So, like, TongFu had the right idea last game. Obviously, Naga was last pick, but they had Sven and Tiny, 2 heroes that already cleave through illusions relatively well. I'm actually really surprised that TongFu didn't decide to build Tiny in a way that he also scaled with the Sven, So it wasn't all the pressure onto just U9 to perform, but it would have also meant Faith would have been able to scale, and then Newbee has to deal with two massive heroes. But they built him in a way that he was more utility based, and in the end, it felt like it really hurt them as well, considering how long the game ended up being, as Newbee were able to drag it out. We do see the Sven ban, so this time TongFu, if they really want to, they'd still have the time left. Unless TongFu wants to try and bring it into a late game scenario themselves, and maybe they consider picking up the anti-mage, but I guess Ember Spirit serves a similar purpose. He can also deal with the Naga Siren illusions well, but I think the biggest thing with Ember Spirit is that if it comes to TongFu having to defend high ground, Ember Spirit is one of the best carries to do it.
Yeah, I would agree. And they actually answer with the Doom now. Kind of interesting there. I will say that the thing with the Naga Siren, more so, like, PL, the classic counter, I would say, to the other illusion hero, PL, because the PL fights a lot with his illusions, whereas Naga Siren's going to be like sending them out over and over again all across the map. So you're not going to be getting as much cleave as you would the other way, unless you like hit them right as you go for the mirror image. But yeah, it's true that the high ground defense is there. The thing that I really feel like they need, though, is the high ground push. And I feel like the answer, as opposed to trying to out late game Naga Siren, is to try and actually end the game and build a lineup that's built around ending the game. But maybe that's not something TongFu feel comfortable with. I'm wondering now if they're thinking so heavily about what went wrong in the last game that they're picking heroes to deal with that problem, as opposed to not letting themselves get into that problem in the first place.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, you can tell by the way they're drafting, they are completely countering Newbee now. They're picking heroes to deal with the Naga Siren as well as the rest of Newbee. The Juggernaut pick will help when it comes to the high ground push, just because you got the healing ward, so at least they've got something for that. But also they've got two heroes that can essentially build into cleave now. So the Naga Siren illusions, it won't be as big of a problem anymore, but it still doesn't help when it comes to high ground push. Like, these heroes don't normally build anything like Deso to push the towers quickly, and they're not running anything like a Lone Druid or Nature's Prophet, so towers aren't going to take themselves down.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I would completely agree. I mean, Juggernaut can do a lot of damage to towers, but he does put himself also in a precarious spot when he does that, because he has to move forward, and he can commit like the Blade Fury on it, which is great against Invoker, and actually a lot of these other heroes, but Doom is still something he's going to need to be careful about. And I gotta say that, like, taking the Doom and the Lion for themselves, again by Newbee, this feels just like a really, really good decision-making process, because TongFu committed for their carries first. They take one of the best heroes in the game that's good at dealing with Naga for themselves, and now TongFu is going to be left with something else, and I'm really interested to see what they go for. But man, this is, I don't know. I'm wondering even if TongFu want to think about going for something like the Shadow Shaman, just for that like heavy commitment to a tower. They banned the Silencer last, and we'll see what they go. They go for the Chen. I love that pick. That's
okay. This is reasonable. I like this pick up too. So you're going to get extra sustain with the Chen. You're also going to have that push that you needed as well, and you also get the illusions from the creeps, which is going to be great. So this draft looks reasonable for TongFu. We'll have to see if it works out. The last pick for Newbee ended up being the Winter Wyvern, which, if you look at TongFu's draft, they don't have that much magical burst. So the Wyvern is going to be incredibly good this game.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing about it with Wyvern is that it's just so good at being able to de-push. That Splinter Blast on that 7-second cooldown, I want to say, it's incredibly potent at being able to keep creep waves pushed out. You can one-shot range creeps at the max level. We did drop out of the game for just a second, so hopefully that's not a sign of things to come again. Give us strength, people out there, and we'll see if we're going to be able to do it. I think that TongFu with this Chen pick, though, and we've talked about it a little bit, it's the type of game, at least, where you can see that the strategy is we're either going to win like pretty freaking early. You can hold out long game for the Juggernaut and Ember Spirit to get huge, but there's a whole lot of tower pressure that's going to be coming from this, and I love it.
Absolutely. So for now, we're going to be in the game. We'll have to see how the lanes turn out. Now this time it looks like KPI is going to get the safe lane, so I'm not going to be seeing any more offlane Naga Siren shenanigans. They definitely want to be guaranteeing him some farm this game at least. He may just be sort of tired after having to go through such a horrendous early game last game.
Yeah, that's one of those moments where you yell at your team, give me the lane I want, god dang it. I don't want to do your shenanigans anymore. Apparently, Naga Siren is an old person. But yeah, and they're going to be heading up here for this top tower. Ember Spirit looks to be going mid, so Ember against Invoker, that's kind of a classically very favored Invoker matchup. which kind of sucks for TongFu.
30 seconds to battle.
Well, even though it's favored for the Invoker, you've still got the Chen that's going to be able to make the rotations.
Yeah.
So even though Lin may struggle for the first initial levels, they will eventually try to gank the Invoker. And if they can kill him 1 or 2 times, that's what the Ember Spirit simply needs. Because once Ember does get that level 6, it's going to be impossible for Newbee to kill him unless they come in for a rotation with the Lion. Because considering what Newbee has for their draft, the only solid lockdown they have early is the Lion. You can't really wait for Lee because his Doom comes at level 6. You don't know when he's going to be getting level 6.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we'll see what they're going to end up going for here, and Lee is heading off towards that offlane role for the beginning, and looks like Sansheng is going to be helping him out there. Maybe he's just going to try and get a D ward off as he is going to be heading up towards this top lane. Kebu spots him out there. It's getting that position in between the trees where you're able to see everybody, and they're going to head off on their merry little way. So it actually looks like they're going to be running a Winter Wyvern in the off lane. I actually really like this play here by Newbee. It's something that we don't often see, but the reason that this is going to get run this way is so that you can get your level 5-ish relatively quickly, and you can defend the tower. The big problem, of course, is getting that level 2, and we're seeing that as an issue right now off the bat, as Kebu is going to be able to zone him really effectively.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing with the Winter Wyvern is he can never efficiently trade hits with the support. Like, you don't even want to be putting points into Cold Embrace, because even after that, though, Kabu hits much harder. He will eventually hit harder than the Wyvern anyway, just because Vengeful Spirit will eventually get either Vengeance or a Wave of Terror. But now they're going to chase after the Venge, just to have a little bit of vengeance themselves. And all of a sudden, this dual lane is going to be very scary for TongFu to deal with. A very tanky Doom, but also a Wyvern with not just a Stain, but a great slow for the Doom to use.
Yeah. And now you also are about to get level 2 on these 2 heroes. So you've got Lee already having his, and Winter Wyvern's going to get theirs, and now you're sort of Juggernaut and the Vengeful Spirit against the Doom Wyvern. Oh my goodness, I'm the worst in the world. Never fear, guys. Batrider ends up finding the kill down there in the jungle, and Faith just showing off over there. Pretty good job to be able to pick that one up.
Never fear, Batman is here. But that's the problem with the Batrider, right? If you're Newbee and you're running a single support up against the Batrider, deaths are going to be an inevitable case unless you get support. So for Faith, easy peasy. Batrider going to have a really easy lane, it seems.
Oh, moo.
Oh, God. They can't afford to lose him. And Lin kills the Invoker?
Yeah.
What?
He's going for a pretty cool build here. He's actually going no points in Flame Guard because he knows that the Tornado is just going to mess with them with that. And so because of it, you end up... Well, he's going back for the point in Flame Guard now, but those early levels were able to let him catch the Invoker off guard and catch the chains, and they find the kill. Really cool play there by the Ember.
No.
I mean,
Yeah.
Moo messed up, but...
Yeah, definitely messed up. Oh, God. Moo can't afford to give kills away like that, though.
Yeah.
So if he can actually put some pressure onto the Ember Spirit and they maybe grab a rotation with someone. Actually, I don't know if Newbee's going to be able to make any rotations just because Lion's so busy down towards the bottom lane and Wyvern's always going to stick with the Doom that he's going to have to be self-sufficient for the first 6 levels.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed for me. He's going to throw at least an EMP onto the Ember Spirit, sapping all of his mana. Although Lin does have a bottle, so that really doesn't hinder him that much.
Yeah, he's going to be fine for now. And so Winter Wyvern takes over this lane for now as the Doom is going to rotate into the jungle, but runs into a huge pack of Chen creeps, and he does manage to take the Wild Wing Ripper, so getting that extra little bit of ability to throw out the Tornado and the Toughness Aura. Then heads off on his merry little way. But this is kind of an interesting little dynamic. Lee, he does have a point in Test of Faith, gets the Long Hurl Boulder off, the Wave of Terror connects as well, and it's going to force the Doom back.
Unfortunately, the creeps weren't quick enough to chase him down. That was a very nice Web of Terror coming up from the Venge, because if the Chen did manage to get a hold of the Doom, Lee would have died there for sure. So
Top, Sansheng gets hit there with the magic missile, is going to have to go for the jump over into the river, and trying to run away to the high ground is going to be fine through that. But that's sort of the nice part about being able to run the Winter Wyvern there, is that you can get away over on that side. So nicely played.
just the cooldown on Arctic Burn is quite absurd at level 1. 50 seconds for a level 1 spell. The cost of it as well isn't really that great, so I'm actually curious, is it going to be the Winter Wyvern build where we've seen a lot of Chinese Wyverns prioritize the second point into Arctic Burn first, or is it just going to be the standard Splinter Blast maxing build? He hasn't quite hit level 3 yet though, so...
I think against this lineup, you want to max out that Splinter Blast and have Cold Embrace ready. But honestly, they've been doing so many funky things that I can't say for sure what they're going to go for. But yeah, in the mid lane now also, it's worth noting that Invoker and Ember have been staying very even, and I've got to feel like this really favors the Ember Spirit here. He's not getting severely outlast hit, and his other two lanes are going great as well. And now they're going to wrap around onto Lee, but I don't think they find this kill.
Oh, Kabu. He actually knows that... Sorry, Lee knows that Kabu's sitting in this Invis rune, so it's going to expire at some point. They're going to slow down U9 and we'll send him back a tiny bit. Now, I just wanted to point out, Lin is now practically impossible to kill just because of the Fire Remnant, but they're going to go for the turn onto Sansheng, and that's going to be a dead Wyvern. He's going to try and buy time with the Cold Embrace, but the heals can't outlast the damage.
Nicely done. Yeah, it was a really good play there. And again, it's just sort of that follow-through you got with the Magic Missile, and then afterwards the Blade Fury. Pretty quick and easy kill. Top lane, are they actually going to be able to kill him off? They do bring him down. Oh my god.
Oh, that's a deadly combination. So you think about it, right? It's a Jug and a Vengeful Spirit. Vengeful Spirit being able to amplify damage just because of the Wave of Terror. Jug being able to get those lucky crits with the Blade Dance. Like 20% crit it's no joke. It's also 200% damage. Jug hits really hard early on if he gets crits.
Totally. You gotta be careful with that line. Rotates in now also.
Chen's coming in too.
They're going to be able to do a little bit of damage to U9. He doesn't have Omni Slash yet, and they do have the Centaur Stump. Oh, I'm not going to be able to catch on to him. There goes another wave of Terror forward. Going to catch on to several. U9 taking a lot of damage, but so is Lee. There's the Cold Embrace healing him for the moment. Test of Faith, not quite dead, and he is going to end up falling there in the end. TongFu, they're still trying to chase now after Newbee, and they're going to be able to kill off that Lion. Nicely done, and Jug just gets away scot-free. Two are dead already, and it doesn't feel like they're going to get anything for this. The Tornado lifts up the creeps, but not the Chen, and now they're fine. Turning back around on Sansheng, they brought Lin in as well. There's the Remnant forward. The net's going to catch. Moo is going to die. Oh, wow. That was a lot of really well-executed plays by TongFu.
TongFu mean business this game. They want revenge after losing their previous series, and it looks like now they definitely want to be winning the game soon. They know that the Naga Siren's getting practically free farm down the bottom lane, so because they're running the Chen, they are going to make these pushes happen much quicker than the previous game. They have an Invoker as well. Oh, sorry, not them. They also have a Bat Rider that's going to provide them a lot of gankability too. We've seen how Faith played this last game. You know how aggressive he can be as a Bat Rider.
Absolutely.
So Newbee, they got to be quivering in their boots. They can't afford to give too much away to TongFu early. They need to buy time. But I don't know if they're going to be able to, considering the kind of heroes that they're running. They need their sixes on all of these heroes first.
Well, and look at the level or the last hits right now on the screen. Like, you've got all four right now cores essentially, because Chen semi becomes a core-ish when he picks up that mechanism and, you know, has all these creeps with them. They're just doing an incredible job of out-farming them. The difference in terms of team net worth about 6,000, and now you've got new U9 with his Omni Slash just now completed. They're trying to stalk the Doom, and as you mentioned, no 6 on him means that he's super vulnerable. But yeah, this Chen I feel like is going to be the difference maker. He's trying to finish off that Buckler, and we'll have it pretty soon, and then it's just right on to Mech.
So what's the plan here for TongFu now? Looks like they're going to bring in our Ember Spirit down towards the bottom lane. He spots out the illusions, and Faith is here too, but they're going to end up running into the Invoker as well as the Wyvern. There's no 6 yet on the Wyvern. He's trying to go for a lasso onto him, and actually is going to be taking a little bit of damage. Here comes our Lion. They're going to come in to save the day. Ember Spirit's still coming in. Is he going to throw the chain? He catches it onto 2. Moo's the first one to fall. They get the Lion as well, and now they're chasing after Sansheng, and because he doesn't have any Arctic Burn, he's going to have to try and survive through this damage. They're just going to wait this out, but this is going to be the end of the Wyvern. Another 3 kills going into the pockets of TongFu and Newbee.
Oh my god.
They're getting ripped to shreds.
This
and
is
up top,
the
you've
thing.
got the Jug pushing too. He's taking a T2 by himself.
This is the thing right now. Like, you've got Newbee with all of these great heroes at being able to counter push, but they're trying to fight right now for some reason, and I really don't think that they need to. Like, if instead you think about that lineup, and instead of trying to turn the gank around for their own good, if they just ran away at that moment, they would be perfectly fine. Like, they wouldn't have ended up losing anybody, and now you've lost 2 towers, a tier 2 and a tier 1 in the mid lane, and I feel like Newbee are playing this all wrong. You got to be using the EMP Tornado to try and keep creep waves pushed out, the Splinter Blast to do it on the top lane. Try and get these levels up on your cores so that you can just hold the creeps off the towers, and if you're able to do that, you should be fine. And eventually the Naga Siren is going to be able to carry you there, but at this rate, she's not going to get a Radiance in time.
So you got drums on both the Ember Spirit as well as the Juggernaut, it seems. They want to have the aura to work with on both carries. So obviously if one runs out, you're going to have the extra drum charges. And they catch out KPI. Gonna pop the song. Oh
my
gonna TP
God.
out too. They have nothing to kill her off, but that's still sending the Naga back. So tomorrow, if I go talk to some of my friends and I tell them, hey, did you know that I saw so-and-so play yesterday and they took 3 towers pre-10 minutes, would you believe me if
yeah.
you're my friend?
Well, yeah, definitely. If I was your friend.
If you didn't watch the game.
Well played. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna move on as they're gonna take a 4th tower. It looks like they're gonna take a tier 2. I believe it. I mean, this is sort of the meta of a Chen at the beginning, and they're sort of trying to bring it back. They recognize a weakness in Newbee's draft, and they're going to be able to exploit it to their best abilities. And I think that this is something that Juggernaut does so well too as a carry because of that healing ward and just the ability to sustain there in a lane. And now they're going to take another one. All of the tier 2 towers by 15 minutes. That's what we're going to see.
Oh, jeez. There's no map control for Newbee. And they are so worried about being separated now that they're moving in small groups. They never want to leave anyone behind. Naga's still trying to find farm. Sitting on only 1.1k gold. Now, this is probably not going to be the same as last game. TongFu, they've learnt their lesson. They know they can't let the game drag. And that's why they've gone for such a strong push-oriented draft as well as the gank onto LY. And he's going to drop without a doubt. That's going to be enough. And all of a sudden, the last T2 standing, not for long.
Yeah, this is a freaking problem. Like, you're in this situation now where they jump forward and you are immediately dead. They're so mobile too. Like the Blink Dagger already completed now on the Batrider. You look at the net worth; it's 12k at 11 minutes, and if they aren't able to push this down, they don't deserve to win the game. So everybody is there. They're trying to take a tier 1 tower up in the top lane, but this one's going to end up falling. All of the skeletons. They're struggling to just hit away at this tower. And how do you stop this at this point? They're throwing out Splinter Blast, which does a lot of damage, but it's so finite. And another EMP Tornado combo going to come out, doing a decent chunk of it. Faith actually does manage to drop there, and they're looking for U9 now. They kill off the healing ward, still trying to find a kill, but not going to be able to do it.
But they did take the tower down pretty low. It's only at 300 HP now. So the next push that TongFu does decide to go for, that tower is definitely going to drop. And that's going to be a test of Newbee's high ground defense. Can they defend this high ground from TongFu? Do they have level 6s on all of their core heroes? They need 6 on Sanjang. He's almost got it. That Winter's Curse is going to be huge because you know that TongFu's running such a zoo-oriented draft because they have the Chen, that there's a high chance that if he just pops Winter's Curse on the Chen, for example, maybe on the Ember Spirit, all the summons as well as the TongFu heroes are going to be able to kill each other. So once they notice the 6 is done on the Winter Wyvern, they've got to be incredibly careful, but TongFu, they don't want to wait. They've smoked up and they're looking for heroes. No one's here though, so there's going to be no blood on the sword for TongFu as of yet, but if they spot someone out,
he's flirting with danger right now. You got the ability to just jump forward and catch him immediately, and as soon as they spot that Invoker, they're going to go for him. There's going to be the catch, and now he's going to end up going down. Omni Slash committed. They're going to be able to turn us back around. Kills off the Chen with his own buddies, and maybe now they're going to be able to do something as they don't have all those heals that they need. Doom has been committed onto U9, but I think they just walk away from this one. He's still got his healing ward. So they're fine for the moment, and Chen actually is going to have Hand of God when he comes back up, so they can probably go back in now.
There's no Winter's Curse as well, so that's 2 major spells down the drain for defending high ground. TongFu, do they keep going though? Oh, there's an Ether Lens just picked up on the Venge. They can try and go for a really nice nether swap here if they want to set up.
Yeah. And also, Naga just used the Song of the Siren up in the top lane, so I think that he's actually just going to die. He didn't have a TP or didn't use it, or it was on cooldown, and now over to the side here, you're going to see another kill. Juggernaut kills off the Lion. Going to just continue to run forward, and Hand of God popped. They got all the region in the world. I think that TongFu are going to be able to bring this one back here pretty soon, and it looks like you're running out of options on Newbee. They catch now with the chains onto Lee. Magic Missile committed. He's going to end up dropping, as does the Tier 3 tower. And with all of these creeps still alive, you've got the Swiftness Aura and everything else you could want. They're going to be able to take down this set of racks at 14 minutes into this game. Well, EMP Tornado goes down again, getting a ton of right-click damage, but Ghost walks away. And Lee bought back and is now going to die again.
Oh, no! Oh, geez, that hurts so much. I guess they defended the racks though. The melee rack still isn't quite down yet, and it's gonna start regenning up soon if TongFu doesn't decide to finish that up anytime soon.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that they just kind of go for another push in just a couple of minutes once they regen up. Like, the only issue that they really have is the distance that they have to walk from Fountain back to the barracks. That's the best thing that Newbee have on their side right now.
And also, Chen didn't have any creeps. They all got killed off in the fight too, so he's got to get back his army. It's going to be a while. This is what Newbee needs, though. They just need time. And because they know that TongFu is just slowly starting to recuperate, do they decide to go for a smoke gank and try and go for kills? And it seems like that's going to be the case. Sansheng as well as Mu, they're ready to go, and so is our Lion. We'll see if they can find anyone. No one has shown themselves, so this could be a bit of a difficult kill. If they can find the Ember Spirit at least, then that could be a really nice one.
He doesn't have a Remnant out. Like, that, he's got to be careful. He actually is going to TP back. Yeah, he's fine. Left one out there, and now is going to end up heading back to base. And yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to catch anybody for the moment. The other thing that we haven't even really talked about yet is that, like, I kind of feel like this Invoker, you have a lot of ability to stop the push, but it's very little ability to actually kill heroes unless it's like single person with a cold snap, because EMP Tornado is just going to slow it down with your, taking away all the mana. But I don't know if that's enough to sort of stop them from keeping on pushing, so it's a huge problem.
It's a problem. If he went excellent, then at least there would have been some nice follow-up after the Winter's Curse, because Winter's Curse is their only main source of AoE control outside of the Invoker's Crossworks build. So if he did go for excellent, I think high ground defense, they would at least have the follow-up to make TongFu more worried going up high ground, because Naga Siren at this point isn't doing anything. KPI is just sitting in the tree line, hoping he gets his Radiance at a decent timing, at maybe 25 minutes again before he gets that. Lion can do a decent job, but he's only got the Finger of Death. Once he's used that, then there's going to be no major damage output from him. And Sansheng, he's really limited by the amount of mana that he has. Like, Winter Wyvern's mana pool isn't impressive, and 150 mana cost per Splinter Blast isn't cheap.
Yeah,
so he can spend for a bit, but he's going to have to go back to Fountain.
The plus side is that, it's tremendous range, so you can do it. You can cast that out without needing to expose yourself to danger. But again, they place on down a ward, immediately going to jump onto Mu. Maybe they toss out the Song of the Siren, so at least for now they cancel it out. That's 180 seconds with no Song of the Siren. At
least they prevented Mu from getting killed off. Oh, they found KPI anyway! That Ether Spark! They got the Winter's Curse onto U9, but these heroes, they don't actually kill Jugs. Jugs are too tanky for that. And all of a sudden now there's no Winter's Curse, there's no Naga Siren Song, they have Finger of Death, they've got Doom. Who does lead aside to Doom though? He's really hesitant going, and Moo's going to try and go for the EMP setup. He only catches the Mental Spirit, but Kabi's already done what he needed to do, and all of a sudden the support comes through. Doom onto the Ember Spirit. That's actually a Juggernaut, never mind. Lynn's in the front lines, actually turned into a frog, but looks like Lee's going to drop because there's no support, no one can really help him. And Newbee, they're left with 3, but their Raxes are dropping rapidly. There's nothing they can do without their control.
Yeah, this is a huge problem right now. And again, you've got the Lion here, but he's got a Bracer. They go immediately for the Blade Fury to make sure that they don't end up getting caught. Remnant is there if they want to try and counter-initiate, as Ember's going to go back, fill up his bottle, and then come back in like a freaking whirling death machine. Sansheng does have that Winter's Curse, immediately going to end up getting caught out though. There's the chains down, does get turned into a frog, but is still going to end up dying. That was an Omni Slash committed for that one. Buyback from Winter Wyvern, the tower is still falling, they've got the regen available for them, so they should be fine here, and it looks like they're going to be content to continue the push. Another EMP does get thrown out there, and Lynn is not going to get hit with the EMP, he's still able to just walk away from it. They catch again with the Tornado onto the Batrider, force staff back, fine for the moment, and Winter's Splinter Blast is still doing damage, but the melee barracks is going down.
That's a GG. 18 free 20-minute GG from Newbee. TongFu meant business, and they overperformed this time, so they have the revenge from the previous game. We're going to be moving into a game 3. It just goes to show that both teams are completely capable of beating each other, so we're probably going to be in for a very close series for game 3, as it's a very crucial one too.
Yeah, and this again, for TongFu, they have to win this to be able to have a chance of being able to move on in the upper bracket, well, even just in the playoff stage at all. And TongFu, Newbee don't have any way to move on. So they can play spoiler to TongFu if they're able to win this next game. We'll see if they're going to be able to do it. For now, we didn't have lag this time. It's just a coin flip as to what is going to end up happening with these servers. But I'm Lyrical Dota, joined by Danelie Cast. Follow us on Twitter if you feel so inclined. And we'll be back in just a second with Game 3 of TongFu versus Newbee in the H Cup presented by BTS. See you guys in a second.